Hotep family, welcome to a continuation of my presentations on reading the sacred script of our African ancestors, which we identify with transliterations into the Roman alphabet as MDWNTR, and we say Medu Neter. Uh, we write the Medu Neter symbols as indicated here. If I were to read these, I'd be reading them into the face of the blackhead ibis bird. So I'll be reading from right to left. And but we can also write Medu Neter using the vowels. If I include the vowels, it would look like MEDEWNETER or NETCHER. I've opted to drop the vowels and just work with the consonants. If I were to transliterate the Medu Neter symbol again that we see from right to left, we write in our language from left to right. So I would transliterate it with GM, MK, and FR. And if I included the vowels, it would be GEM, MEK, and EFER. And I would read that as Gem, Mek, Nefer. So in this presentation, I'm going to focus on the names of some of the Africans who represented Upper and Lower Nile Valley in Northeast Africa. This is one such person. This is a statue of someone they identify as Ramesses. This statue is 10 meters high, which is 33 and 8/10 feet. It is made out of limestone. Fortunately, it was too heavy for the British to carry it to their museum, so it still remains in Northeast Africa in a small temple in an area uh, that we identify as Memphis. On the waist buckle, we can see what's identified as a Shanu, and it's inside the Shanu, and that we can read the actual and the correct names of these uh, Nasuts. So, although this African is usually referred to as Ramesses II, out of respect, we will call him by his African name, and we will identify his name by reading the Shanu. His name, just in advance, is Wsr Ma'at Ra, Setept and Ra, Ra Masu Mary Amen. But let's break that down. So on the Shinu on the left, which is preceded by the symbol Wajet, which is a cobra with a solar disk above its head. Uh, Behind the solar disk, behind the Wajet, is the Shinu. Inside the Shinu, we would read the name Ra Mesu Mary Amen. And on the right hand Shinu, or the Shinu on the right, again, that is preceded by Wajet. And inside of that Shinu, we read Us Ma'at Ra Setept in Ra. Therefore, we know that this Africa's name is Us Ma'at Ra Setept in Ra, Ra Mesu Mary Amen. So we have to give thanks to Dr. Yosef A. Ben Yakinen and for all the dedicated and hard work, because this is how we get most of this information transmitted to us, specifically the names of these Nasud Bitties. Um, Unfortunately, Dr. Ben is no longer with us, but during his time, he shared with us so many facts about our people in Africa, particularly along the Nile Valley, and we could find that information in his seminal work, Black Man of the Nile and His Family. So Black Man of the Nile and His Family is just one of many of Dr. Ben's works. His legacy is much greater, and I can only give thanks for having been able to spend some time with him. and learn some things. So, but he did leave behind a treasure trove of information about African civilization along the Nile Valley. This presentation is going to focus on a tiny bit of truths and specifically names of the chief kings of what Dr. Ben would identify as Alkebu-lan on the Nile Valley. So he starts his list around 4,400 before the Common Era, which is 6,400 years ago, which is identified as pre-dynastic Egypt. And then dynastic Egypt starts around 3,200 before the Common Era. Again, that's 5,200 years ago, and that begins with the first dynasty. And I am not going to talk as much about the first dynasty. I will focus more on the 18th and 19th dynasty. I'm doing the 18th and 19th dynasty just because it's an easier one to get to right now. And what happens in the 18th dynasty specifically is they kick out the invaders, the foreign invaders, the first foreign invaders from Europe, the Hyksos, and they extend the boundaries of Upper and Lower Egypt or Kemet to go as far north as Syria. But this presentation is going to specifically compare names from the list in Dr. Ben's Black Man in the Nile Valley and his family with the names written on the walls of the temple at Abydos, which was built during this time period. So I'm going to begin with Dr. Ben's book, and we're going to begin by looking at the Nasubites from the 19th dynasty, which runs from about 1340 to 1232 before the Common Era. And these are the Nasubites who, again, represented the upper and lower Nile Valley during that time frame. So the first name that we see is Men Pet Ra, Sarah, Ramesu. So let's again kind of break that down. So we identify this as a Nasubiti by the suit plant, loaf of bread, the bee, and the loaf of bread that's in front of the Shinu. That is Nasubiti. That's going to precede all the names, or that's the title of these um, chiefs or rulers or representatives. And inside the Shinu, we see the men, the horn, the head of a lion, which is Pet, and the two loaves of bread. So it gives us Petet, Petet. And then we have Ra. So this is Nasubiti, Men, Pet, Ra. His Sarah name, which is Sarah, we see Dr. Ben identifies that as son of the sun. So that's Sarah. His Sarah name is Ra Mesu. And again, we see the solar disk. We see what's identified as the three foxtails, the folded cloth, the suit plant, and Uchek. And altogether, we identify that as Ra Mesu. Following Ramesu, we have his son, and his name is Men Ma'at Ra. I should say Nasud Biti, Men Ma'at Ra, and his Ra name is Ptah, Pth, Ptah, Mary Seti. So Ptah, we see the stool, the loaf of bread, the twisted flax, and that is a hoe. So that is Ptah, and the hoe by itself is Mary. And then we have Seti, and Seti we have is being followed by the two reed leaves, and that's the E. So that's the Seti. And then we have the ripple of water, which is N. And then the grandson of Nasubiti Men Petet Ra, Sarah Ramesu, is Wsr Ma'at Ra, Setept in Ra, Sarah Ra Mesu Mary Amen. And that is the name on the statue that we saw earlier. All right, so in addition to the names of the Nasut Bitis, we actually see a fourth name on here, And that fourth name is is preceded. Actually, there are two names here. One name is preceded by the Sud plant with the well and the loaf of bread, and is transliterated as Suden Hempt, and translated as Royal Wife by Dr. Ben. And the second name is preceded by Suden Moot, and is translated as Royal Mother by Dr. Ben. So this would be Wsr Ma'at Ra, Sateptan Ra, Ramesu Mary Amins, Suden Hempt, and is Suden Moot. So again, Suden Hempt and Suden Moot, again, one representing something that we might identify as royal wife and the other as royal mother. And inside we have their names inside of this Canoe. And in the first Canoe, we have a set Nefert, which is translated loosely as beautiful Aset, and then we have Tui as his mother's name, royal mother's name. Next to the statue, this is actually image from the side of the statue, Ramesses II in a place called Abydos, and we can see that next to him is his Sudenhemp's image, or the image of his Sudenhemp. Inside of Chanu, we can actually read her name again. It is written with a little bit more of elaborate text, and we would talk more about that at some later point. But again, so sometimes we can see the names of the Sudenhemp or the Sudenmut. So we definitely want to be thankful for Dr. Ben's project and efforts in putting all this work together. He has listed all of the names of the Nasubitis that ruled along the Nile Valley up until the Roman invasion. Um, but there are other lists, and so if we go inside of this temple is at Abydos. It was built during the 19th dynasty, and it was the 19th dynasty have Nasubitis from the area which we would call up south, which is Waset, or also now we call it Luxor or Thebes. But this temple includes information that confirms the names of Nasubitis that preceded the 19th dynasty. So this temple at Abydos is an extraordinary temple designed by Nasubiti Men Ma'at Ra, Sarah Pata Mary Insati, the father of Usma Ra, Setepten Ra, Ra Mesu Mary Amen. Uh, and we will see that relationship shortly. But the temple is designed to um, represent or to identify and worship or um, allow for ceremonies for each of the following seven natures. Uh, we have Set, Ptah, Ra Harakti, Amin Ra, Usir, also known as Osiris, Aset, also known as Isis, and Heru, who's also known as Horus. So this is a very elaborate temple, and it has many important bits of information. So it's a must visit if you ever get to Egypt. So this area I had to visit every time I traveled there. It was for me the most spectacular, one of the most spectacular representations that I've seen. If you look carefully, what you see is Sarah Pata Mary Insati on the far left, and his son Usma Ra Setept and Ra in front of him. And what's happening is the father is presenting the Shanu of his predecessors to his son. And we see those Shanus listed on the right hand side. So from that image, it's almost evident that there was a continuity of leadership, and actually, it goes back as far the original, as far as the first dynasty, if I remember correctly, and I think I may have some images of that. But I'm only going to start with a few of the examples so that I can get it done in a short time. Right. So there are at least three Canoe that are in Dr. Ben's book from the 18th and 19th dynasty that are specifically listed on this wall inside of the temple at Abydos. So just imagine we have available to us a list of the names of all of the Africans who ruled along the Nile Valley, starting from the first dynasty, going back 3,200 before the Common Era, or 5,000 years ago. Quite remarkable, yet we don't learn anything about this in school. I did want to point out the new the different, I should say, title for uh, Men Ma'at Ra. Here we see in front of the Shanu, we have the symbol for Netcher followed by Nefer. So that would be Nefer Netcher, beautiful Netcher, Men Ma'at Ra, Sa Ra, and his Sa Ra name remains the same, Ptah, Mary, and Seti. And again, when we look at this image, we can see that he is, in fact, um, presenting his son with the list in the form of a scroll of the names of all of the Nasud Biti, all of the um, Africans who ruled prior to his rule. Okay, so we want to investigate the last eight Shanu that are on this temple wall that are being presented to Wsr Ma'at Ra, Setepten Ra. And a couple of things we notice is that each Shanu is preceded by a ripple of water, a suit plant, loaf of bread, and another ripple of water, which could be transliterated, which would be transliterated as NSWT, and some would translate that. I'm sorry, some would say that as Nasut, some would say that as Sutant. I tend to say it as Nasut. Also, at the bottom, each Shanu is followed by a seated man with a crown of Upper Egypt. But that posture is the posture of the Netur Ptah. So I'm going to call it Netur Ptah, but I may have to revisit that thought. So in this exercise, this presentation, what we will do is match the Shanu in the Temple of Abydos with the information that's presented in Dr. Ben's seminal work, Black Man and the Nile and His Family. We will focus on these eight Shanu. So in its counting from left to right, we will go those eight Shanu from left to right. So the first Shanu that we're going to work on matches, or it would be transliterated. It's kind of hard to see, but transliterating that would be Keper and Ra. And if we match that to Dr. Ben's book, we see that that is the Shanu with the this is the fourth Nasud Biti of the 18th dynasty. His Sarai title is Nefer Kau Jehudi Mes. He was identified or called Jehudi, he was called Tutmosis II by those folks who spoke Greek. So the next Shanu is a Shanu of Men Keper Ra. Men Keper Ra was the sixth Nasubiti of the 18th dynasty. His Sarah title is Jehudi Mes. Again, those folks who translated everything into Greek called him Tutmosis, and he was the third such person with that title. So he was Tutmosis the third for those who spoke Greek, but his correct name is his correct title and name are uh, Nasubiti Men Kepara Sa-Ra Jehuti Mes. So next we have the Shanu of Keperu-Ra. Keperu-Ra. Keperu-Ra was the seventh Nasubiti of the 18th dynasty. His Sa-Ra name is Amenhotep Hek Anu. Again, the translation into Greek language, we get Amenophis II. And then next we have the eighth chief king of the 18th dynasty, and we see that his name was Men-Keperu-Ra. Men-Keperu-Ra. Again, his Sa-Ra name was Jehudi Mes Kakau. Again, they called him Tutmosis the fourth. So again, we have the original name and we have the translation into Greek. But the original name, again, title and name, Nasubiti Men Keperu Ra Sarah Jehuti Mes Kakau. Next name, or next Shanu is Neb Ma'at Ra. Neb Ma'at Ra. Neb Ma'at Ra was the ninth Nasubiti of the 18th dynasty. His Sa-Ra title is Amenhotep Hek Worst. Again, Greeks called him Amenophis III. So this is Neb Ma'at Ra, I should say title first. Nasubiti Neb Ma'at Ra Sa-Ra Amenhotep Hek Worst. Next, we have the Nasubiti of Ser Keperu Ra Setept in Ra. This was the 15th and last Nasubiti of the 18th dynasty. His Sa-Ra title is Amen Mary en Heru Imheb. Amen Mary en Heru Imheb. Again, his name, his correct name and title, Nasubiti Ser Keperu Ra Setept in Ra Sa-Ra Amen Mary in Heru M Heb. So now we come to the first Nasubiti of the 19th dynasty, whose name is identified or written as Men Petet Ra. Men Petet Ra Sa-Ra Ra Mesu. So Men Petet Ra, or I should say title first, Nasut Biti Men Petet Ra Sa-Ra Ramesu is the first Nasubiti of the 19th dynasty, and he is the grandfather of Wsr Ma'at Ra Setept in Ra. So what I understand is that from one dynasty to the next was basically a different family. So the 19th dynasty is the beginning of another family of Nasubitis. And so the second Nasubiti in that family in the 19th dynasty is Men Ma'at Ra. Men Ma'at Ra, or Nasubiti Men Ma'at Ra, Sarah Ptah Mary in Seti, is the person who's showing these images to his son Wsr Ma'at Ra, Setept in Ra. And of course, it kind of makes sense that he would be the last Shanu listed in this series. So this presentation is just a small sample of information that is available to us. And because of the format, I'm trying to keep it brief and within a reasonable time frame. But there's much more to learn. I have other videos. I'm trying to share as much information as I can. So please provide feedback in the comment section and ask questions. Right? Questions help me figure out what is necessary for me to do. But I think this information should be shared and understood. Respect and Shem Hotep.